thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Combiner Wars Deluxe Class First Aid, a heavily retooled and repainted version of Off-Road from the Stunticons. Obviously, as you can see, First Aid does a nice job of homaging how he looked in G1. I think it looks terrific. You got this nice open clamshell right here. The background card is actually made up of the comic book with the exclusive IDW, the Hasbro cover. You got Transformers here, although it looks like they got some weird kind of thing right here where it's like it's doubled up or something, but you got Transformers there, you got Generations. On the side here, you got an image of the toy for Defensor. Then down here, you got a cool artistic image of him, as well as a listing here saying that he's number 4 or 5. But as I said previously, all of Wave 3 has the Protectobots, so you don't have to wait or anything to be able to complete them in Form Defensor. I think that's wonderful. It was a minor problem in the first wave that gave us drag strip and prevented us from forming the Superion, but that's all in the past. And then here you obviously have his vehicle mode, his robot mode, him transforming in 8 steps, and it says First Aid is just as likely to be first on the scene to help a wounded bot as he is to show up to repair a broken dishwasher. To the Protectobot medic, the greatest enemy is malfunction. Human, bot, or machine, if it's broken, First Aid won't carry on until it's back up and running. And in true Scramble City fashion, he can be an arm or a leg, but for me, he's always been like the left arm, so instead of having him as a leg right there, I'm going to have him basically right over there, but I'll show that off here in a little bit. But for the packaging, that's about it. I'm looking at his head sculpt. I really love his head sculpt. But all that being said, let's get this guy open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have First Aid opened up and out of its packaging. And much like Streetwise, First Aid here is a heavy retool of a previously released figure. That being Off-Road. Now, as you can see, here's Off-Road. Getting these off of here so you can get a true appreciation of what's different. Obviously, you have his weapons here, which I'll touch on here in a little bit. But really amazing differences basically put on here. Everything again is essentially different. All the panels, you got the front section here, which is completely different. You got the actual straight on section here, completely different. The side panels are all different. Obviously, he's got a whole back section here that, well, Off-Road didn't have. The only thing that I'm noticing that's really the same here are going to be the tires as well, much like Streetwise. You do have a nice silver paint on here, but First Aid here just has the straight black, which I really don't mind. Obviously, this guy has some stickers on here, so it's a little bit different as well. But I mean, I'm really just amazed at the difference. Even in the actual robot mode, there's a lot that is actually changed. It's really quite substantial. Now, getting him out of the way and bringing in his G1 self, obviously, there's a little bit of a difference here in terms of the size. Also, vehicle mode, they're really not that similar looking. This guy has a very almost Ironhide look, where this is definitely not an Ironhide look. But overall, again, really very impressive. You got rescue, you got emergency, you got the red and white paint, you got the blue highlights here for the windows, you got the light bar on here, really nice Autobot logo. Everything on here is very, very solid. Now, for me, First Aid has always been an arm, specifically the left arm, but due to me swapping out Rook, I actually think that First Aid here looks pretty good as a leg. So going to the leg mode, obviously you have this bit right here. For the leg, you literally just take this, you angle this back, this kind of pegs in there very securely. You angle this back, that'll actually lock into place, and you put that right there, and there's his leg mode. All of these are really very simple in terms of their limb configuration, and then you just bring in the torso form, slide that in there, and bring that in. And again, like I said, I just think that looks a little bit better when you're able to cover up that joint. It's a little ugly otherwise, and I do think that he looks a little bit better as an actual leg. But again, it's all going to be personal preference for you. It really just depends on what you want to do and what you think looks the best. So feel free to do whatever it is that you want to, guys. But to Transformer, we're going to just bring this back. This whole section here, the transformation is exactly the same, but it does have a little bit more clearance issues just because you have this piece right here, but it's not really all that bad. So you're going to loosen all this, bring these arms up just like so. This swivels down a la Off-Road himself. These come down. These actually tab in and lock into place. Do that on this side as well. Bring that, tab that in there, locking the leg halves together. Straighten that out. Rotate that around. You can bring this down. Now with these, well, you take this section and you actually have little clips right here that when you bring this down, that locks into place right there. Well, don't want to have that there. Now these, you can really do what you want with them. I kind of like leaving them down a little bit more. I think it looks a little bit better for him. You do have this section here which can kind of get in the way of these panels if you want to bring them up too much, but all said and done, there you have First Aid in his robot mode. Now, once again, much like Streetwise was heavily retooled in both his vehicle and robot mode, First Aid here benefits from that as well. Again, all the panels are basically different on here. The only thing that I can find that is the same is this crotch section right here, and then the upper part of the thigh, and then the lower part of the thigh. That's all basically the exact same. The hands are even different, unlike Streetwise, who had identical hands, because the hands here are part of the mold of the actual forearm. This is all different as well. So that's even different on this. The head is absolutely terrific. I love the way that that looks. I kind of wish that this didn't sit up as high as it does. It's almost like I wish it could, you know, like fold back a little bit more and then maybe fold in on itself or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that giant thing hanging out. I mean, for a size comparison and looking at the original G1, he didn't have that going on, you know what I mean? So leaving it down like that, I wish I could have done something here. I guess, well, no, that doesn't even look all that good. That's kind of like the same height. So I just wish that you could collapse that a little bit more. But what I really like is, again, the colors are a little bit slightly off. This is a much whiter color. This guy might be a little bit faded or something like, or color distorted from age or something like that. But I love the fact that he's got like this magenta color on here, and that's fairly similar to some of these other parts, like the combiner port here. That's the same color here as is the upper part of the arm, and then also his thigh. So I like that they got the red in there, they got the white obviously, and then the I'm dropping them, and then that magenta color in there I think is really very nice. But for more comparisons, using his, I don't want to say his mold mate, because they really aren't the same mold. But here is Off-Road, and you can see just really how extensive the differences are. And honestly, this kind of looks like it sits up a little bit higher-ish than Off-Road. So, or Off-Road sits up a little bit higher than First Aid. So I guess that's not too bad. I guess that's a little bit better. So they did figure out a way to lower it a little bit more. But again, the differences are all there. The chest is different. Obviously, these panels are different. The arms, as I mentioned, are different. The thighs are the same, but coming down here, obviously, the legs are extensively remolded and kind of give him a little bit of a leg backpack thing. Well, I don't think it looks really all that bad. I just love the different contrast here. I mean, they look similar, but when you look closely, there's so much that is actually different on them. Now, as I said, First Aid has always been an arm for me, but I think I'm going to break tradition and actually use him as a leg. Mostly just because I think Rook doesn't work so much as a leg, just because that kind of knee joint is exposed, and this actually allows you to bring this up and kind of hide that. So to go into his arm, we're just going to rotate this all the way around and then collapse this in. Do with the arms as you see fit. I see a lot of people doing it like this, which actually doesn't look all that bad. You can rotate this around. You now have like an elbow thing. Kind of make sure that's fully collapsed, just like so. And then bringing out his hand, foot, thingamabopper, bringing this up, and then pegging that right in there. There you have his arm. And again, I mean, it kind of makes it look bulky with this section down here, but it's really not all that bad. And then again, you just slot this down there, and you have his arm basically like that. I do like it. I wish I could leave this up here. I just obviously don't think that Blades will look very good as a leg. He will look too small next to Streetwise. and he's the only one that you can bring down that you can actually take this section here and kind of cover that up. So by necessity, I'm using him as a leg as well, so it's a little unfortunate, but all in all, I mean, it's keeping with, you know, that whole cool element that you can swap them out, and I dig that. So going back to his robot mode, splitting these legs, bringing this down, bringing that down, rotating that, spinning his head back around. I really do dig the guy. I think that all of these deluxe figures are absolutely incredible. They work so well as either Stunticons or Protectobots that I really could not be happier with these. Now, going back to his vehicle mode, you're going to straighten this out. These actually will slot into place now. There's a little groove section here and then a little tab right here that wasn't on off-road, if I remember right. That's kind of interesting that they did it. I'm just going to rotate his head around just to kind of hide it. Lift this section up. This whole bit right here, we're going to collapse this up and in. That's a stiff joint right there. There we go. Get that right there. And then actually now when you do that, you got a little slot on the inside right in there that now this tab will go into. So it adds some stability to it. I like that. So again, accordioning this up and get that next to there. Fold that in, collapse that, connect those halves, slot that in, and then you just bring these down. Put those along the side. Again, stiff joint right there. Bring that in, and then bring this down. And then you also have little slots right here that these little pieces will come down, these little sections right here, and actually now tab into place right there. Now he does, I forgot to mention this, he does come with this axe that we did get previously. I don't remember exactly who it was that we got this with, and I guess it makes sense that you give a doctor an axe, but that's his other weapon. All in all, again, another wonderful reuse of the engineered figure that we got previously. It's absolutely incredible what they're able to do with a different kind of shell and how they're able to make the characters just look so much different. Vehicle mode here, I really love the way that he looks. It has an ambulance look to it, but kind of more of a tactical, kind of militaristic looking ambulance mode or something like that. But I really dig it. I think it's really very neat looking. The transformation is exactly the same. Nothing really changes with it. And then that robot mode just really does a terrific job of recreating how that first aid looked in the cartoon. I really am gushing over it. I love this guy. All of these Protectobots just sound like gush fest videos, not even necessarily reviews, so I do apologize for that, but I'm just really excited. I really do genuinely love these. And then for the combiner mode, again, he can be an arm, he can be a leg. Typically, I would be using him as an arm, but I don't think it looks all that great. But like I said in my review for Rook, I don't think that Rook really looks all that great as a leg. So the fact that these can be swapped out and used in any configuration really allows me to make my own figure that I personally feel has the best look. And that is one absolutely wonderful element about these Combiner War figures. But beyond that, that's about it, guys. So if this is something that you're interested in, First Aid here as well as the rest of Wave 3 are slowly hitting various outlets. So good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Big Bad Toy Store where you can pick this up and add them to your collection. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my website at optibotimusreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. And don't forget to check out Sabertron.com for all of your Transformer news, as well as photo galleries on this and other Transformer figures. And finally, guys, I'd also really appreciate it that if you like this review, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.
Breaking loose, you'll be transform and roll out.
Class dismissed.